Okay. Late, hear me. Shalom. Can y'all hear me? Yeah, I had to, go out and come back in because my screen froze. But they've been messing with me a lot lately, and I don't care. We'll work our way through it. Shalom to everybody in the chat. Thank you, T Key, for the super sticker. I do appreciate it. All right, y'all. We gonna get through this. We are gonna get through this. All right. So let's see. Let me see. All right. I gotta set everything back up. Tab. All right. Okay. Please give me a 1 if you can see the screen. Now, I'm not going to show you the actual video because on the real video, people are running and but you are going to hear the sounds of the gunfire. You will hear that, but you're not going to see anything because you're just going to get the audio. All right. That's all you're getting. And just in case you don't know, there was a shooting at Joel Osteen's church in Houston. It was a woman, and she had a 5-year-old with her, and she is gone. The 5-year-old was hit, but they are still alive. And I mean, when I tell y'all she fired off a lot of rounds, you'll hear what I mean. You'll hear it in the audio. So as long as everybody can see this, let me go ahead and play it for you.
Still do a lot more investigation. You can expect police and law enforcement presence here at Lakewood Church probably well into the evening, maybe even into the morning hours. It really depends on how big a scene they have to process. But they wanted to get the message out that they believe this is an isolated incident and that Houston is safe. So that's what we have right now. Back to you guys. I want to toss it to you guys because I think they're going to make us move from this location in a few minutes. So I wanted to make sure you guys get that part of the information in.
She wore a backpack. She had a long gun, as it was described, a rifle, wearing a trench coat, and threatened that she had a bomb, which is why we saw the bomb squad deployed and that robot taken out of the vehicle. They did not find anything. Even more striking, perhaps, is some of the video we've already seen and heard, Adam, regarding that shooting.
We have obtained witness video from inside of Lakewood Church. We brought this to you originally on our 24/7 live stream. Then when we cut in to our linear coverage here on ABC 13, this was before we knew any details from officials. I want you to take a look and most importantly, a listen to these videos from inside Lakewood Church just before 2 o'clock this afternoon.
¿Cómo puedes inscribirte o tener más información?
Okay, that's it. It is terrifying. And the thing is, when you see the actual video, you can see the people running. They are running. So, yeah, she fired off a lot of rounds. No, her name has not been released. They're just identifying her as a 30-year-old woman that was wearing a trench coat, and she had a 5-year-old with her, which could have possibly been her child. No, that was a reporter speaking in Spanish towards the end. That was not from the church. That was an actual reporter speaking in Spanish towards the end. Because in Texas, they got a huge Spanish speaking population there. A lot of Mexicans are there, you know. So, wow. Yeah. It was shocking when I found this out. Yeah, who knows? They didn't identify her. So I'm sure in the coming days they will identify who she is. They did not speak of any motive of why she went in there with a trench coat on and a long rifle, and they did not identify what type of rifle it was. But, and what she was upset about, whether she was a regular member there or not. No, this is Joel Osteen's church. This is his church. The only reason why you heard the Spanish at the end is because that was a reporter speaking. That was not a church service or somebody at the church. That was a reporter. Yeah, boy, y'all, they ain't lying. In these final days, you're going to see all kinds of stuff. And, in Joel Osteen, Lakewood Church, that's a mega church. I don't know if any of you ever seen the inside. The inside of that thing is like, I would say it's like a quarter of a football stadium. It's huge. It is huge in there. And if you remember, the only other time I remember seeing this church is, y'all remember when I think it was Hurricane Harvey, when it hit down there in Texas, and he did not want to open his church as a shelter, but he kind of had to because, people started going down there, and then the media was called and they showed up. So then he opened the door to his church, but he really didn't want to do it. And you could tell he did not want them people in his church. And I think another story I did, but this probably was like 2018, they found thousands of dollars, I think, inside of a bathroom wall where somebody hid all this money in the wall, and it was found by, I think, one of his church members. And I think they never told who hid that money or if they even found out who did it. But somebody was hiding money inside of a wall. Mhm. So there's a lot of different footage online, and there is footage of, people outside that came out of the church after it happened. And it was a lot of people there. He had a pretty packed house when this occurred. And y'all, it looks like the curses are definitely on these churches because they don't tell the truth anyway. And you're not supposed to be tithing to a Gentile like Joel Osteen. He is not the one you should be tithing to. Mhm. Yeah, and he is actually stepping in the shoes of his father, from what I understand, because I looked at his bio a couple of years back. He got into the ministry because his father was a pastor. And so he just kind of followed in the footsteps of his father. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. It's not like they're telling the truth about who we are up in these churches because they're not. They're not. No, they only do certain scriptures. They never go through that whole Bible. And I used to always find that bizarre when I was still actively going to church. I just noticed they just kept repeating the same sermons and the same scriptures over and over and over. And it's like when the new year came, they started from the beginning and worked their way through the year with the same sermons and the same scriptures. And they never went through or did a good thorough teaching of the Bible. And even if you go to Sunday school, they don't do it all in Sunday school. They just select what they want to teach. And you really never truly get the full lesson, even when you're in Sunday school. So, so what good is the church if they're not going to tell the truth? Back in the day when I was a little girl, they used to do Old Testament back then. But now, a lot of these churches, they won't even touch the Old Testament, and they won't touch or go anywhere near Revelation. That is the thing that's amazing to me. When you go to church, and even when they talk about judgment in their sermons, man, they steer clear of Revelations. They don't talk about that at all. Yeah. And I noticed that even when I was growing up, I would see Revelations. And I remember I even asked my mother, I said, how come y'all never talk about Revelation? They never talk about it. So it's almost like your church members don't realize there is an end to this Gentile world. If you're not teaching Revelation, then, then there's no end to the Gentile world. It never comes to an end to these churchgoers. But see, they get lied to. They get told they're going to make it, the Christians are going to make it. Because I remember they were saying that kind of stuff when I was there. Oh, you're going to be in heaven. Wait until they find out that Most High is not with them at all and never were with them in these church houses. Yeah, but they don't teach out of Revelation. And I noticed that years ago when I was still going to church. Yeah, that's all Joel Osteen is, a false prophet. You got that right. I think that's Kyra knows 144. Yeah, he is a false prophet. He is. Yeah. I mean, I watched him. I did watch some of him back in the day, but I didn't consistently watch Joel Osteen. But there were a few times I did watch him. And I know the church I used to go to, it was a Black church, and some of the people there liked him, and they would talk about him. They would talk about Joel Osteen and would ask me if I watched him. And I mean, periodically I did, but I did never ever consistently watched him, because I don't know, these televangelists, they call them. I don't like them. They just all seem so phony to me. All of them seem fake. And yes, it's all about money. And then one of my friends used to watch the 700 Club, and she was like, you should watch it. You should watch it. I watched it, y'all, and it seemed like the 1 hour that I watched it, they spent the entire hour begging for money. That's all they did for the whole hour. Didn't get a Bible scripture, didn't preach from the Bible, nothing. They spent the entire hour trying to get people to make donations and call and make a donation. Oh, just call us and make a donate. That's all they did for the whole hour. And I never went back and watched it again. I said, well, they could at least teach from the Bible. They're not doing nothing but sitting there all day long trying to get you to call and give your checking account info. No, man, I don't want to watch that. And then I remember all the cornball ones that used to be on. Y'all remember Carney Thomas? That man was a clown for real. Remember, God, that guy? I remember that. My son used to watch and just laugh at him. He wasn't getting no lesson from that man. He was just laughing at him. It was a couple of them. And I think there was that Peter Popoff. He was one. I think that was his name, Peter Popoff. Oh no, Pat Robertson. Pat Robertson could not help but let his white supremacy show when he was on there. He couldn't do no, hell no. Yeah. Yeah, their ministries were like infomercials. They were so corny. And Carney, I think he was trying to sell some handkerchiefs back then. Oh, you need the red handkerchief. You need the red handkerchief. I used to sit there and laugh. I think he was on like real early in the morning, real early. Because I remember I would be getting dressed for work, getting up and get ready for work, and he was on there screaming and hollering and all that stuff. He's still out there, y'all. If you go on YouTube, because I was curious a few years ago to see if he's still actively out there. And he got his big church, and his videos are still being uploaded up on YouTube. So Carney Thomas still got his church and he's still actively going. Yeah, Reverend Ike, I used to watch him just to laugh. You know what was funny, Christopher, about Reverend Ike was when he had those testimonials, like on Wednesday, people would be in wheelchairs going up front. I got cancer. And then he would hold up raw meat. I got the cancer. I got the cancer. I used to be screaming. My mother used to be yelling at me, go outside and play, turn that off. I would be in the living room where our TV was back in the hood, and I would be hollering all up in the house laughing at that stuff. And you could clearly see he was holding up raw meat. And then the next person would call, I lost my eyesight. I can't see. And then he would grab their face and give them their eyesight back, Jesus. And then hold up the same raw meat. So their eyesight is back. I got the cause of your blindness. And it would be the same piece of raw meat. That was, boy, when you really think about it, that stuff was stupid as hell. And then every now and then, most of the time, it was a little slither of beef. That's all it was. And you could clearly tell it was a little slither piece of beef. And every now and then, it would be a piece of chicken. And it'd be raw. I got it. I got it. And then the next person would be on a gurney and they go up, their head all wrapped. You could tell these people are acting. But y'all, no matter what, Reverend Ike turned out to be a multimillionaire just doing his shows and his sermons because he had a real church. He wasn't just on TV, he had a real church. And I think his son took over. But yeah, that was when I was a little girl. Man, that stuff was funny as hell. And he was another one that sold a lot of stuff. And I remember he was selling this gold medallion. And he was like, this is why things are going wrong in your life. This is why everything is going wrong. You need this gold medallion to change all of that. And I remember one of my old stupid behind cousins bought one of them medallions. I told him, I was like, why did you buy that? He bought one. He bought one. Y'all, in about 2 weeks, that thing turned. It was fake gold. In about 2 weeks, that thing was tarnished. I was laughing at him. I couldn't believe he bought that stuff, but he did. Oh, yeah, they're the towels, the prayer handkerchiefs. Those are the main ones I remember. And it was another pastor that would sell green ones. And I think Carney was selling red handkerchiefs. And then I think it was Popoff. He was also selling water. And it was nothing but bottled water. But He tried to make people believe this water was going to change your life if you drank this bottle of water. And you could clearly tell it was just a plastic bottle of water. That's all it was. Man, these pastors are going to pay a heavy price when judgment comes for all the stuff they have been up in these churches doing. And I had a couple of uncles that were pastors and cousins, but the pastor that took over my uncle's church when he retired, y'all remember when these pastors would walk the bench? And that's what he would do. He would get on the bench and walk the bench while he was preaching. And I think one Sunday he fell. He went to walk the bench and his butt fell. Man, yeah, because church ain't nothing but entertainment. Yeah, Creflo Dollar, steal your dollar. Yeah, I remember him. Hmm. Yeah, yeah, it's going to be a heavy price for these pastors because they had big, huge audiences worldwide and still did not tell the truth up in these churches. Still didn't do it. And I mean, if you think judgment is not real, then look at this situation. It is definitely real. It is definitely real. Yeah. When I think back, I know I'm laughing about a lot of this stuff, y'all, but I am grateful I got away from these churches. I really, truly am. I am so grateful I don't go through the doors of any of these churches no more. And I sincerely don't miss it. I think the last time church even came up, it was a woman I had met, and she went to one of the local churches, and she was like, I'll pick you up Sunday and we can go to church. And I was like, no, you ain't picking me up to go to no church. I ain't going in them churches. Mm-mm. And that was probably my last invite to go to church, and that was a couple of years back. And I had to tell her, I ain't going in no church. Yeah, I mean, church is nothing but entertainment. You are literally just, it's like walking into a concert every Sunday. You feel all good, dancing and hopping around and singing the songs, and the pastor do maybe a 1 hour yapping sermons, recycled sermons, and then you leave. And then the collection plate comes around, what, 2, 3 times, and then you go home. Mm-hmm. No, I mean, Marcella, they try to convince me to go, but I let them know I left the church a long time ago. I don't feel there's any salvation up in these churches. I don't care which one you take me to. There is none. There is no church that's going to help me get into the kingdom of the Most High. None. Okay? Because none of them are teaching the truth. They're not telling who we are. They're not telling who the real Hebrew Israelites are. They're not doing nothing. Okay, but keeping their parishioners in the dark. And when you talk to them, it is very obvious they don't know the Bible. They don't know nothing. They're sitting there every Sunday and they literally don't know a thing. And that was another reason why I didn't want to go. I said, people that go there don't know nothing. I didn't even know nothing because it wasn't until I got into the truth. And that's when I really started studying and learning the Bible on my own. But under a pastor's leadership, I didn't learn nothing. And that should tell you right there, you don't belong in the church house. I went to church from birth all the way up until the time I decided to leave, and I didn't know nothing. I did not know, not what I should have known. At least that's how I feel. Yeah, yeah, that's all they do is collect your money. That is so true. That's it. That's all they're concerned about. And then you see the pastors living all big and large. And then a lot of these churches are in very poor areas. And the pastor is rolling up in spanking new cars, and their parishioners are either catching the bus or they don't have spanking new cars, you know? They're living in poverty, many of them. And then you look at the neighborhoods that these churches are in, and they're not even helping the neighborhood. They're not helping to improve the neighborhoods that they're in. And yeah, the churches are not about anything. Yeah, you learn how to get up and clap like you're in a concert and you dance around. Yeah. That's about it. But it's just weekly entertainment as far as I'm concerned. That's it. Yeah, I mean, many of these pastors don't even believe what they're saying. They don't even believe what they're telling their congregation. Mhm. Wow. So, y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and conclude. I just wanted to give you this update on what's going on because, this is crazy and we are in these crazy times for real. So, everybody, please enjoy the rest of your night and be on the lookout for my videos. I'm still working on those, and they should be out. The first one should be out after midnight. Shalom, family.